For this video, I will be talking about Demon's Crest, one of Capcom's most underappreciated Super Nintendo games and an entry in Capcom's obscure Gargoyle's Quest series, a Ghosts and Goblins spin-off series. The game stars Firebrand, a red Aremer gargoyle demon from the Ghosts and Goblins universe. Although I don't like fighting the red Aremers in the mainline Ghosts and Goblins games, I do like their designs and attacks, and I like the concept of a video game starring a red Aremer. The premise of Demon's Crest is that there are 6 magical stones called crests, one for each of 6 elements: fire, earth, air, water, time, and heaven. The crests appeared in the demon realm, and demons fought over the crests, resulting in a civil war in the realm. One day, Firebrand obtained all of the crests except for the heaven crest. Firebrand fought the demon dragon Somulo for the crest. Firebrand eventually won the battle and won the Heaven Crest, but was left severely wounded. A flying demon named Phalanx attacked the weakened Firebrand from behind and stole the crests, planning to use the crests to rule both the human world and the demon realm. However, the Fire Crest was shattered into 5 pieces, and Firebrand held on to one of the shards when Phalanx placed him in an amphitheater. The game begins with Firebrand attacked in the amphitheater by Somulo, who is now a dragon zombie. After defeating Somulo again and escaping the amphitheater, Firebrand begins his quest to find the crests and defeat Phalanx. I will now talk about the gameplay. The play control is smooth and easy to learn. Firebrand's jumping is smooth, as is his breath attack. Firebrand's hovering in his normal form is also great in that he moves horizontally at a great speed, and as long as he hovers, he never loses altitude, which is a great convenience. As a result, the hovering adds depth to the platforming aspect of the game. Firebrand's ability to cling to walls in his normal form is another great feature, adding depth to the platforming aspect. One of my favorite things about the game is Firebrand's ability to change his form with the crests that he obtains throughout the game. The alternate forms add a large amount of depth to the gameplay, as they are greatly varied in terms of abilities, allow for access to areas impossible to access with Firebrand's normal form, and have combat advantages that Firebrand's normal form does not have. Firebrand can also obtain shards of the Fire Crest to enhance his breath in his normal form, giving him combat or platforming advantages his other forms don't have. Firebrand also has cool and practical special abilities assigned by default to the A button and that depend on his form. 2 examples are the normal form's Headbutt and the ground gargoyle form's Dash. The specials add depth and strategy and add to the exploration component. Another great feature is the minor RPG elements, specifically vellums on which spells can be written, urns that can be filled with potions, and equipable talismans that enhance Firebrand in different ways. These add strategy and depth to the game and can help reduce potential frustration. The gameplay is made even better by the highly detailed graphics and the spooky and violent atmosphere. Although the Ghosts and Goblins games are primarily lighthearted, a spooky and violent atmosphere goes well with Firebrand because the Red Aremers are some of the more intimidating enemies in the Ghosts and Goblins series. The detail and art style make Firebrand and his enemies look intimidating and greatly add to the atmosphere as a result. The environments are also highly detailed and all fit well in the game's story and atmosphere. I will now talk about the stages. The first stage of the game is a great introduction to the combat and the basic gameplay, and is a great teacher for players new to the game. The first segment of the stage, a fight against the zombified Somulo, is a great introduction to combat and to the violent part of the overall atmosphere of the game. The Somulo fight ends with Somulo's head disintegrating and a health upgrade appearing in its place. This is a great way to let the player know of the existence of health upgrades. The stage's platforming segment, which begins immediately after the Somulo fight, begins with Firebrand automatically headbutting a statue and breaking it as if out of frustration. This is a great way to let the player know what Firebrand's headbutt does. The first stage also does a great job at teaching the player about items and about paths inaccessible with Firebrand's normal form and normal breath. The second stage of the game starts off with a segment with shops that Firebrand can enter. The segment presents the shops clearly and allows for convenient access to shops. The stages can be played as many times as the player wishes, thus allowing the player to explore the different paths or side paths in the stages. The multiple paths and side paths and the collectible items add depth and replay value to the game. The stages are made even better by their excellent songs. The first stage's platforming segment song is a great setup for the game's atmosphere, goes well with the journey through a dark and violent world, and is my favorite song in the game. My other favorite songs include the Ruin song and the Mountain song. I will now talk about the boss battles. The bosses are greatly varied in terms of design and attacks, have designs that fit well in the dark and violent atmosphere, and are intimidating in terms of attacks. Most of the bosses use the same boss song, a great song that fits the atmosphere, the boss designs, and the boss attacks. Somulo has his own battle song, and it works better as a first boss theme than the standard theme would, because Somulo's theme goes well with the beginning of a dark and violent journey and fits his design and growls. I will now talk about the final stage, Phalanx's Tower. Phalanx's Tower has an amazing song, has a fitting design for a final opponent's base, and is well drawn and well structured. The song fits the design of the tower and goes well with the feeling of the target of Firebrand's revenge finally coming up. The song is also my second favorite song in the game. The final battle against Phalanx is fun, especially the complete version, which consists of 3 phases. I will only talk about the complete version of the final battle. The first phase is a great warm-up, and the skeletal spiked walls that the battle takes place between are a great touch. The second phase is even better with its unsettling song and more intimidating fighting arena. The third and final phase is a great mix of combat and platforming, and is intense because of the unsettling song, the lava below Firebrand, and Phalanx's massive, intimidating, and powerful final form. I will now talk about the endings. There are 3 possible endings that occur after the player defeats Phalanx: a bad ending, a standard ending, and a good ending. I think the bad ending is unsatisfying because the version of the Phalanx fight preceding the bad ending is too short and ends in an anticlimactic way. In addition, the demon world ends up in a worse state than before, invalidating Firebrand's efforts. The incomplete cast of enemies doesn't help either. The standard ending is much better though. Phalanx sealing himself forever in the Heaven Crest to avoid getting killed is an interesting plot twist, and Firebrand hiding the crest so that potential opponents for him can find them and fight him fits Firebrand's character well. The complete cast of enemies is great too. The good ending is even better. Phalanx being outright destroyed is much more satisfying than him sealing himself, especially considering his final form. I also like Firebrand's character development at the end. His decision to not attempt to rule with power shows growth. The cast of enemies, including descriptions of the crests, is a great touch too. There is a 4th ending, the game's true ending, which requires a special password and which requires the player to defeat a secret boss only accessible via the password, the Dark Demon. The Dark Demon fight is fun because it is intense, unsettling, and challenging. Furthermore, the Dark Demon itself is well designed and intimidating in attacks and appearance. My favorite thing about the fight, though, is that in the fight, the player can use Firebrand's best form, the Ultimate Gargoyle, which has all of the abilities of the other forms. The true ending is easily the best ending. Firebrand's final moment in the ending is better than his final moments in the other endings. His understanding that his power does not come from the crests is more satisfying than his changes in the other endings, and his decision to look for strong opponents in the demon realm fits his characterization. The other endings include a cast of enemies. This one, however, includes a cast of enemies and a cast of gargoyle forms. The true endings cast segment thus truly feels complete. The ending picture of Firebrand is a great touch too. Overall, Demon's Crest is a great take on the Red Reamer enemy, and is a great action and exploration game with its smooth play control, engaging and deep gameplay, great stage design, great dark atmosphere, and excellent soundtrack. That concludes my review of Demon's Crest. Take care.